Infinity, eternity, everlastingness, endlessness. These words are soothing my soul. But is anything in our life eternal or everlasting? Life is not. Life is finite. Life has an end. And one day you will disappear, like plop, and you're gone. With these motivating words, I welcome you to a happy episode with me, Anna, your time expert. And don't worry, I will do everything that you will be feeling light and inspired at the end of this episode. But I might be saying some rough words today, or things that for a moment will give you a little shock. But you know, that's all right, because it might just wake up some new thoughts in you, and that is good. Even if you don't agree with me, at least you will start thinking about some things. Yes, I have to say, this episode was a challenge because it's Sunday morning, 6 a.m. In 5 hours it will be launched, but there is still no recording because I'm still working on it. But I will get there. It's just, there is so much to say about limitedness and eternity. So this episode is just the tip of an ice cream. Or, what did I say? I mean, it's just the tip of an iceberg. So, let's get started. One thing we always hear is that life is limited. The time we spend on this planet will one day have an end. So what is the point of it? What is the point of life if one day I would just be gone? I could just put myself on a couch, fill the room with all the food I love, but close to me so I don't have to move anymore, watch all the series and movies which do exist. Let's say movies, yeah. Or no, even better, I could game myself to death. Because voila, one day I would just be gone, so what's the point anyway? I am sure that there are people out there, maybe you, thinking like this. And why not? Personally, I also think that life is limited. And I think about this every single day. But it creates the opposite attitude. This thinking has always helped me. It makes me do all the things I want to experience in my life. Being creative, trying to produce good stuff, inspiring people all around the world, take a long bath and drink a glass of red wine and listen to Mozart or Juliet and the Lakes. Sit for hours on the balcony and watch the small little birds doing things. Tell the people around me how lucky I am to have them. Because if time is limited, I don't know when this limit appears. So it's good to say the things that should be mentioned. And this brings up to my mind an idea I want to launch. It will be called something like The Last Letter or My Last Message. And more to come on this soon. And I'm very excited to see what you think about this. But back to the limited lifetime. Let me read a few phrases from one of my favorite books about the time called The Psychology of Time from Dr. Zimbardo. The denial of death is a denial that time will end. If you deny that time will end, you are likely to treat time much differently than you would if you felt the time to be scarce and of limited duration. If you imagine your life as infinite, you are unluckily to value time as more precious than gold and more likely to treat it as ordinary grains of sand on a beach. Ironically, denying death relieves psychological stress, but it may also lead you to devalue life so that you may live less fully. If we take infinity or eternity into the game, we could imagine that there is a life after death. Like this life would go on forever. And that is what many people want, don't you think? But why? Maybe because they are afraid not to have enough time here in this world. And that's often the case if you're not living the life you want for yourself. The influence that the belief in life after death can exert on the way people behave before they die, and that is for sure. Let's take an extreme example of this: suicide terrorism. If you look at this topic with the eyes of a time expert, you understand that these people believe in a transcendental future, in a life after death. And like this, tomorrow is always a guarantee. Another way to look at life after death could also mean to have a responsibility here on earth, which determines our actions. Staying out of hell, going to heaven, or being reincarnated in a higher life form. The transcendental future can also include a reunion with dead loved ones, eternal life, achieving oneness with nature, reincarnation, and the end of poverty, pain, and suffering. Now, each religion approaches the transcendental future and other time perspectives differently. It really is indeed a fascinating topic, and it's interesting to sit and think about this for yourself, to find out how you feel about this and how this influences your life in the present moment. And when this is done, I suggest we focus on this life. If you wake up every morning and you say yes to this life, to this day, this will change how you live your daily life. I do this every morning. I say yes to life, because that's where I can play, live, love, and create, right here and right now. I have declared that energy can be eternal, especially love, or compassion, or deep internal happiness. I am sure that this energy has an influence, and I could imagine that this energy flows into the universe and is flying around there. Might be naive thinking, but I like the picture of it, and I like to spread a good vibration. The next belief is this: to leave footprints. Footprints which will last over my death. It's not going to be eternal, but if I can have a positive influence on people during my existence, it would be nice if the footprints I'm leaving behind will stay a little bit longer than myself. Like in 100 years, a father is sitting next to the bed of his child, telling goodnight stories, and he will say, "You know, once upon a time there was this woman. She always talked about creating moments and to use the time wisely. Do you know, son, what that means? Let me explain it to you." Well, I feel a bit embarrassed. Maybe it's also naive, but in short, it's like a quote I read once. We all leave footprints as we journey through life. Make sure yours are worth following. I want to do good on this earth, and if the good can carry on, this gives me great pleasure to create a nice footprint. But I have to admit that I did not think like this until a few years ago. So I also know how it is to live a life without wanting to leave a footprint. That's my declaration on eternity. But to be honest with you, I don't think about this often. I thought about this now when I dedicated myself to make this episode about it, and that was important. But me, Anna, the woman I am living the limited life, and that's what makes me happy. It makes life so unique. I mean, come on, life is a gift. Just look around you. Look at the possibilities we have, even in hard times. Life is special. And then there are those moments. The moments which show up and you look at it and you go like, wow, this is special. And as I said, I know life isn't always easy, but still, even with that, it has so much to give. Isn't it nice to live this adventurous and diversified life? Yes, I take it all. Now, my dear listener out there, wherever you are, from the bottom of my heart, I wish that you can see the gift of having a life, of having today, of having the day today. And I wish that you care about the right things and that you enjoy whatever you're doing. Enjoy, I love this word, enjoy. Let the small nonsense things just go. Zoom out, take the eagle view on your life and look at what you have. And life would say, enjoy your stay. And so do I. Take care. Bye. And by the way, I wanted to say thank you for being here and listening to my thoughts. I am very grateful to know that there are people out there all around the world which I have never ever seen and still feel so connected with you. Some of you I've seen, but really most of you not. It's a funny feeling, but you have to know that I often think, what is she or what is he going to think about this when I am working on the episodes? So it's a lot of fun for me. Thank you. Of course, feel free to share it if you like it. I appreciate that a lot. My dear listener, I know that there is so much more to talk about on eternity or limitedness. But this was just with the eagle view from my side, and it would be very interesting to hear what you think about all this. And another, by the way, thank you, Jenny. And here we go. You might know who Mozart was, but maybe you thought, who is she talking about when she's in the bath listening to Mozart or Juliet and the Licks? Well, take this. Bye.